Hey Jason, in this second video for the first week of June, I'm going to go over the difference between major scales and minor scales and major keys and minor keys. You've probably heard about this. Oh, this one's in A minor. Oh, that one's in D major. So I want to make sure you know what that is. So, here goes. That's like the concept part of this week's lesson. Music theory is what this is. Okay, let's get my pencil. Okay, so I alluded to this last week about half steps and whole steps, and how the structure of half steps and whole steps is what makes a scale a major scale. Let's look at the keyboard real quick to review this. Here's a keyboard. Here's C. Now, in the C major scale, the C major scale is a good example to look at when you're looking at the structure of half steps and whole steps in a scale, because C has no sharps or flats, and so it's just all the white keys right here. Just as a reminder, what is a half step and what is a whole step? Well, a half step is the shortest distance you can move musically between two notes in our Western system. I just say that because there's like Eastern music and Indian music that have like quarter steps. They have more notes in their system. But this is our system. A half step is the smallest space between two notes, and it sounds like this. Right? Those are the closest notes together. Or these two keys. Right? Or these two keys. Those are half steps apart. They're as close as they can be. A whole step is just two half steps, right? Very mathy. So between C and D is a whole step. Right? There's a single note in between the two notes of a whole step. Okay? And so we're talking about half steps and whole steps in the major scale. If you look, so we often talk about scales with scale degree numbers. So there's like 3 or probably more different ways to talk about what a scale is. Right, one way is to just use the letter names, C, D, E, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Or you can use solfege, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Or you can use numbers. That's another common way to talk about it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or you can say 1 again instead of 8. Okay, so those are like the different ways we can use solfege or numbers. All right. So often when we're talking about the structure of a scale, as far as where the whole steps and half steps are, we talk about numbers, okay? So if we're numbering this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Where are the half steps and where are the whole steps? Well, in a major scale, between 1 and 2 is a whole step, 2 and 3 is a whole step. Now between 3 and 4, look, there's no black key in between. Mi, fa, 3, 4. There's only a half step between 3 and 4 in the major scale. Okay? Between 4 and 5, it's a whole step again. 5, 6, a whole step. Between 6 and 7, a whole step. And so the other half step is here, right? There's no black key here. These are right next to each other between 7 and 8. All right. Another way to put this is that, you know, any scale has a series of whole steps and half steps, and you could just be like, okay, it's all whole steps, except the half steps are in between 3 and 4, and 7 and 8. God, my voice is getting a little raspy. I was hoping to fix it by drinking water. It didn't seem to help. Anyway, that's what I wrote right here. Just exactly what I was just doing on the keyboard is what I wrote here on the staff, right? Here's a C major scale. If I can still sing, we'll see. Right? C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I drew where the whole steps and half steps are. In this case, I'm just writing the word W for whole step, H for half step. Okay, and so in any major scale, doesn't matter what the notes are, this is just a C major to as an example, but this is how any major scale is. Between the third and fourth note, there's a half step, and between the seventh and eighth note, there is a half step. Between mi and fa and ti and do are where the half steps are, and all the other notes have whole steps between them. Here, I basically wrote the exact same thing as right here, except I just wrote it with solfege and numbers. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then here's little W's for whole steps. And then, H for half steps. Okay, so there you go. That is the structure of the major scale. It is a half step between 3 and 4 and 7 and 8. All right, so now I'm going to contrast that. Whoa, my computer's being weird. I'm going to contrast that with the minor scale now. Okay, let's see if I can think of a melody that is in minor that's common. Having a little trouble thinking of it, but I'm sure you've heard minor sounding things. I don't know. For some reason, a couple of Halloween songs are popping into my head. If you dance, then you must have boots of shining leather, money in your pocketbook, in your cap of feather. That's a minor song right there. What's another one? Here's another Halloween song. Have you seen the ghost of Tom? All white bones with no skin on. Ooh, wouldn't it be chilly with no skin on? So that is also in a minor key. Maybe I'll think of a better example. Anyway, okay, so the minor scale. Let's look at the keyboard first. Okay, so now I'll show you the C minor scale. And you'll see that the half steps are in different spots, right? So in a C major scale, the half steps are between 3 and 4 and 7 and 8. The half steps are going to be different for a minor scale, and that is what makes it a minor scale. Each type of scale is defined by where the half steps occur in the scale. Okay, so here's a C minor scale. Okay, hopefully maybe that sounds familiar to you as far as like major versus minor goes. Let's contrast them both for a second. Here's a C major scale. And here's a C minor scale. Okay, so where are the half steps in the minor scale? Well, here's 1 and 2. The first half step occurs between 2 and 3 in the minor scale. Okay, so here it is. And then between 5 and 6 is where the other half step is. Okay, in a minor scale, the half steps are in between 2 and 3 and 5 and 6. Everything else is a whole step. Here's what it sounds like again. Okay, let's look at this on paper. Looking at the exact same thing, but it's just on paper here. Okay, so I haven't really gone over how to determine, well, actually I'm going to in a second, but haven't gone over how to determine minor key signatures yet. So don't worry about that, but, I just know that the key of C minor has the notes B flat, E flat, and A flat in it. It has 3 flats in the key signature. Okay, so, and here they are, and these flats are there to give this scale the structure that makes it minor, which is the half step being between scale degrees 2 and 3, and then the other half step being between scale degrees 5 and 6. Remember how I talked about chromatic solfege last time? Well, now I'm using it to represent the C minor scale. So, yeah. Do. So here we are. We got this whole step. So we have do, re. Now between 2 and 3, it's only a half step. So that means we have to lower the E with a flat sign to make it E flat. So we have do, re, mi, fa, sol. Similar thing here. The 6th degree of the scale, which is usually la, we had to put a flat sign in front of it and lower it by 1/2 step in order to give it the half step between 5 and 6, which defines a minor scale. That's what makes it minor. The half steps between 2 and 3 and 5 and 6. Okay, so therefore, we're using chromatic solfege. La has been lowered to become lay. Okay, so we have do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, te, do. Here's more chromatic solfege. We had to lower the B to keep those whole step patterns, right? Because if you look over here, right here I am doing a C minor scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, te, do. If I didn't lower this B, right, it would be up here, and we'd have fa, sol, la, te, do. There's more than a whole step in between 6 and 7 of the scale, and we can't have that. Well, actually, we can, and it's called something else. But anyway, in the regular minor scale, we had to adjust the 7th degree to keep those whole steps in line. All right, so that's the C minor scale. And that's the structure of the minor scale. Between 2 and 3 is a half step. Between 5 and 6 is a half step. And everything else is whole steps. All right, this is a lot, as are all the videos, really. I'm really going over a lot of music theory, so good luck to you. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about one more thing. It's the concept of relative minors. And this is about major key signatures. But okay, so basically every, I don't know why I wrote one here. I should have written each. Each key signature has both a major and a minor key associated with it. Okay, and here's an example. There's just a B flat in the key signature. Okay, and this is the key of F major. Now, in this case, you kind of just have to memorize that. The trick doesn't work of going to the farthest right flat and, and that's the key. That doesn't work with this. You just have to know if there's one flat, we're in F major. Okay, so here's a good old F major scale, right? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Now, here is the relative minor to F. It's D minor. And what that means is, if you start on D and play up to D and you play a B flat, that's, the same key signature as, let me just draw a little flat here to try to make this as clear as possible. If you play from D up to D in the same key as F, you get a minor scale. Okay, so D minor and F major have the same key signature. Let's show you on the piano. So the key signature is just one flat, a B flat. Here's playing from F to F, the F major scale. There we go, a good old F major scale. Now I'm going to play with the same key signature, which is just a B flat. Everything else is white keys, but we have a B flat, and I'm going to start on D and play up to D. Okay, here goes. Interesting. It's a D minor scale. Okay? So, every major key has a minor key that corresponds with it that uses the same key signature. It's called the relative minor. D is the relative minor to F major. To find each major key's relative minor, you just find the 6th degree of the scale and start on that note, and you're going to get the relative minor. Right? So for this example I just gave you, 1, 2, I'm starting on F here. Here's F. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Start on 6, and that's the relative minor. So that's how I know that D is the relative minor to F major. By the way, it might be easier to count backwards to 6, right? You could just go, oh, here's 8, 7, 6. Oh, here we go. Okay. So again, this is a big concept, but it's a pretty big deal, and it's an amazing thing about our music system. Here's another example of exactly that. Yeah, so C. Here's a C major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 6. 6 is A. So that means that A minor is the relative minor to C major. If you start on A and play with no sharps or flats, just like with C, right, you get an A minor scale. Pretty neat, huh? And that's it. That's it for the new concepts of this lesson. In the next video, I'll give a little homework assignment, and that has to do with this, and then maybe talk a little bit more about the score that you sent me, just to talk about conducting and rehearsing a band. Let me just bring up one more thing about this. So here's, here's the solfege, right, for the C major scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Okay, so this is the, there's a couple different ways to sing a minor scale. One way is what I showed you up here. It's called do minor, and it's when you use chromatic solfege, me, lay, and te to make a minor scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, te, do. Well, there's another way to sing a minor scale, and it's called la minor. La minor emphasizes this concept of the relative minor. Okay, because as I just said, if you find the 6th degree of the major scale and start on that and just sing in the same key signature, but from the 6th, you get a minor scale. Well, the 6th degree of a major scale is la, right? So one way to sing a minor scale is to just start on la. La, ti, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la. All right, this is called the la minor system of singing. And there's a lot of debate amongst music nerds and music theorists about what's better, do minor or la minor. I personally, I might not be I don't know if it's half and half. I honestly might be in the minority on this, but I love la minor. I think it's awesome, super straightforward. You don't have to use much chromatic solfege. You just go la, ti, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la. Awesome. You don't have to think about changing some of the notes. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, te, do. So, but that's just me. You're gonna, I don't know, if you ever talk to people about this, you'll find that it's very divided, okay? And there's not really a correct answer. They each have their separate strengths, and honestly, they kind of equal out in goodness, if you will. But why do I love la minor? I was taught that way. That's how I got used to it. That's about it. So anyway, there you go. That's the music theory from today's lesson. Major scales, minor scales, and the concept of relative minors to a major key. It's a lot. Okay, see you in the next video.